production of the Mississippi State University Extension Service.
Today on Farm Week, the Farm Bill advances to the floor of the Senate, and the chairwoman of the Senate Agriculture Committee speaks in Mississippi.
Mississippi Women for Agriculture helped celebrate the 10th anniversary of Annie's Project with its founder.
In Southern gardening, marigolds. They're still great in our climate, and there are some new ones available.
In the markets, old crop and new crop soybeans still headed upward. Beef and pork, however, could use some better news.
In the feature segment, it's a familiar symbol of Mississippi State University, a ball of Edam cheese. MSU is celebrating the 75th anniversary of Edam cheese production on campus. It's as much a part of the university as Bully.
We didn't advertise in the papers or, any kind of brochures or anything like that. So it was just word of mouth, really. And people sending people cheese, and then they would turn around and place orders. So that's how it really got spread throughout, the United States.
Good day, everyone. I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Amy Taylor. Welcome to Farm Week. The U.S. Senate is leading the way once again on the passage of a new farm bill.
Amy, less than a week after it passed the Senate Agriculture Committee, the full Senate began work Monday on its version of the 2013 Farm Bill. The Senate voted 70 to 26 Tuesday to keep a 0.5% annual cut in the food stamps program known as SNAP. The woman leading consideration of the Farm Bill is Senator Debbie Stabenow, a Democrat from Michigan. She is the chairwoman of the Senate Agriculture Committee. Friday, she came to Cleveland, Mississippi to deliver the keynote address at the 78th annual meeting of the Delta Council.
We've got to get it all the way across the finish line this year. I commend our House colleagues for getting their bill out of committee this week as well. Both bills are bipartisan. It's time to have them taken up, not only in the Senate, which we're doing, but in the House, and get it done.
U.S. Senator Debbie Stabenow was referring Friday to the proposed 2013 Farm Bill. The Farm Bill is already being worked on by the full U.S. Senate, with passage expected shortly. It's hoped the full U.S. House of Representatives will pass its version in June. Stabenow hopes that the Senate and House will be able to work out their differences, with final passage coming by September.
I'm glad that Senator Cochran has joined our leadership team and built the Southern Connection to make sure that we have done what we need to do for the South, for cotton, rice, peanuts, and others in the South. We have done that.
Mississippi Senator Thad Cochran chose, by virtue of his seniority in January, to be the ranking or top Republican on the U.S. Senate Agriculture Committee. Mississippi agricultural leaders said this helped assure Southern growers' concerns would be heard. Some Plains and Midwest senators voiced their displeasure when a new subsidy was created that sets minimum prices for rice and peanuts. Stabenow said this was necessary since the crop insurance program presently doesn't offer rice and peanuts the same protection it does corn and soybeans.
Crop insurance right now doesn't work for every region in the country, and certainly your senators have made sure that I knew that right now rice, peanuts, cotton don't have crop insurance. Now, cotton came forward with a crop insurance type program that we put in the bill, but right now what works for other parts of the country doesn't work here.
In her speech, Stabenow pointed out crop insurance is still being refined, but it is working. She said no disaster bill was passed, even though the 2012 drought affected 80% of the nation's agricultural land.
We have also made sure that growers in other parts of the country, as well as your soybean and corn and other commodities that you grow, have the strong crop insurance that they need. If folks have access to crop insurance, we want to make sure that it's strong and available. It's interesting with the droughts across the country and everything that happened last year, we didn't pass an agriculture disaster bill because crop insurance actually worked for the folks that had it. We just need to expand on that and pass a permanent livestock disaster assistance program, which is in our bill.
As it passed out of the Ag Committee, the Senate Farm Bill saves $23 billion over 10 years, with $4 billion of that coming from the food stamp program known as SNAP. The House Farm Bill cuts $20.5 billion from SNAP. Stabenow says the Senate's approach towards SNAP was one of cutting waste and fraud. SNAP funding will likely be a sticking point between the Senate and the House.
We've approached this from the standpoint of saying we need to tackle waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. We shouldn't have anybody getting assistance that shouldn't be getting it. On the other hand, if somebody needs some temporary help, it ought to be there. And so the House took an approach that really does overall cut nutrition services that are available. And for me personally, will be a big point of contention in the conference.
And once again, Stabenow hopes that the Senate Farm Bill will be passed shortly. The House bill will hopefully be passed in June. Stabenow says she hopes the two will work out their differences and full passage of the bill will take place by September.
Recently, Mississippi farm and ranch women who have participated in the nationwide program, Annie's Project, got a chance to celebrate its 10-year anniversary. At the 10-year reunion, participants shared knowledge and experience they gained through the program and even got a chance to meet the Annie's Project founder, Ruth Hambleton. Empowering farm women by building relationships and business knowledge has been the focus of the program, Annie's Project, for 10 years. Mississippi State University Extension Service Family Resource Management Specialist Dr. Bobby Shaffett describes the recent Annie's Project reunion held in Jackson, Mississippi.
We are having a reunion of all of the graduates of Annie's Project in Mississippi. And we had people from all over the state come and celebrate with us and get to meet Annie's daughter, Ruth Hambleton, who is the founder of the program. We have Annie's Project programs in local extension offices all over the state, where small groups of farm and ranch women get together and learn from experts in the field of estate planning and farm management and all kind of things that farm and ranch women need to know.
Dr. Shaffett says the program has built confidence in these women as they operate their farm or business. Annie's Project founder Ruth Hambleton explains how Annie's Project was born.
Annie's Project got started as a result of a grant opportunity that I had to put on a program for farm women. So I put a program together that I thought would benefit a person like my mother, Annette Colegan-Fleck, for whom the program is named after. I took my years of experience as working with the University of Illinois Extension as an extension educator in farm business management and marketing, and I put a program together that was called Annie's Project that helps women understand farm operations and the business side of things. When it becomes difficult, and this is the way it was with my mother, she was able to put what I call both hands on the steering wheel with her record keeping and her decision-making skills and guide the family through whatever troubles that we had to build the legacy of Annie's Project.
Additionally, Hambleton says the program is approaching 10,000 participants in Annie's Project. From Jackson, Mississippi, I'm Amy Taylor reporting. If you want an easy-to-grow pop of color in your flower garden, you need the tried-and-true Summer Performer. And in this week's Southern Gardening segment, Extension horticulturist Dr. Gary Bachman introduces to us the good old-fashioned marigold.
If you want to create an easy color splash, then you need to plant flowering annuals. There are lots of new selections with really bright colors in the garden centers to liven up your landscape. Today I'm at Rivers Greenhouse and Garden Center, and can you believe all this color? I'd like to share one of my longtime favorites, marigolds. For the hot summer weather, marigolds are a sure bet for great color. The African marigold, known botanically as Tagetes erecta, has beautiful pom-pom-like flowers. Yellow, like the flowers of these Inca-2, and orange, like these Moonsong Deep Orange, are popular choices. But believe it or not, there are even white flowers. The variety French Vanilla has creamy white flowers that will remind you of ice cream on a hot summer afternoon. The other marigold I always have in my garden are Tagetes patula, the French marigold. French marigolds have a broader color palette that includes reds and browns to go along with the yellow and orange. These Bonanza hybrids will grow to 10 inches tall and 8 inches wide. Bonanza has some of the largest flowers with diameters approaching 2 inches or greater. Marigolds are easy to grow. They don't need much fertilizer, but they do need consistent watering during dry spells. They love a lot of sunshine, but you will have to deadhead spent flowers to encourage additional blooming. A little known fact is marigold flowers are edible. Well, at least the petals are edible. Imagine using as a colorful confetti on your favorite recipe. I'm horticulturist Gary Bachman for Southern Gardening.
Artist Gary says organic gardeners plant marigolds with their vegetables since marigolds naturally deter some insects. In the feature segment today, we have part 2 of our 2-part report on the 75th anniversary of Edam cheese production at Mississippi State University. Learn some of the history behind the iconic symbol of MSU. Time now for the markets with artists. And artists, you say that the red meat market continues to have some trouble.
Yes, it does, Amy, and there seems to be little good news there. As we look at the rest of the markets, old crop soybeans haven't topped out yet, but new crop is waiting its turn. Beef prices remain mired while pork supplies seem to be plentiful everywhere. And the cold storage numbers show more pork and poultry than the trade expected. Well, live cattle contracts at the Chicago Mercantile settled lower, as did feeder cattle at midweek. Losses in the feeder cattle contracts, strong corn gains, and the inability to push beef prices higher caused the live contracts to drop. The deferred feeder cattle contracts were pressured the most as traders focused on the rally in the grain markets. Now, Sue Martin says that the cattle market is having trouble recovering because of large supplies of competing meats.
Normally, June is seen as a soft month, and our demand seems to be percolating pretty good finally now that we're entering into a grilling season. It's been very late this year, and that's been part of our problem. The other part of our problem is that we continue to have to compete with the consumer's tax or disposable income against beef versus pork and poultry. And we have a good supply, increased supply of pork this year and an increased supply of poultry. And therefore, the cattle markets really had to struggle.
The latest cold storage report shows supplies of red meat and poultry were up at the end of April. The pork and chicken numbers topped pre-report estimates. Pork in cold storage totaled 699 million pounds, up 8% on the month and 6% on the year. That's a new record for the end of April and bigger than pre-report estimates. The increase is said to be due to poor pork exports, which we'll talk about in a few minutes. Beef in cold storage totaled 510 million pounds, slightly lower than the previous month and down 2% from last year. Pre-report estimates expected supplies to be unchanged. The total amount of red meat in cold storage was pegged at 1.2 billion pounds, an increase of 5% on the month and 3% on the year. Chicken in cold storage stood at 669 million pounds, 8% more than last month and 11% larger than last year, and once again above the pre-report average estimate. Well, as illustrated in the cold storage report, the news in the hog market remains negative. Even the bird flu scare in China is not helping pork exports. China apparently has an oversupply of its own pork that it's trying to manage, so it's not importing any pork. Sue Martin says that Europe is also not a receptive market.
Europe was thought to be, in the last half of this year, to be lower in production, and yet the USDA came out and showed world supplies for this year to be higher than what we were thinking. Now, this is kind of interesting because not only has U.S. markets been high the past year for corn and feed, but so has Europe and other parts of the world. And yet the producer didn't cut back his production. He stayed in there and even increased a little bit. Abnormal, very abnormal. And so this speaks to us that the prices are still going to wane here and probably move lower. We're about seasonally ready to peak, I think.
Well, our trivia question today is designed to illustrate the concentration that is taking place in the nation's swine industry. It has to do with the number of sows owned by the leading pork producers in the United States. How much of the nation's sow herd is owned by the nation's top 3 pork producers? Is the answer 19%, 28%, 35%, or 48%? We'll have the answer between the markets and the feature story.
We're going to pause now for a short break on Farm Week. Coming up, we'll look at the calendar, and in the second part of the markets, Artis Ford reports positive price trends for old and new crop soybeans. In the feature segment today, Edam Cheese celebrates 75 years at Mississippi State University. It seems more popular than ever.
Our tradition of learn by doing is creating new opportunities. My 4-H is involved with service projects in communities all across our state.
We develop leaders for Mississippi's future.
My 4-H is science and technology, everything from computers and robotics to exploring our environment.
My 4-H promotes active lifestyles and encourages physical fitness, healthy foods, and nutrition.
My 4-H is Mississippi 4-H.
Before we get back to the markets, let's look at the Farm Week calendar. A nature camp for children takes place June 11th through the 14th at MSU's Crosby Arboretum in Picayune. Children ages 6 through 12 are eligible. This morning camp will feature hands-on lessons, games, and activities. The children will leave camp with an increased appreciation and excitement for nature. The cost is $35 for children of Arboretum members, $45 for non-member children. Registration is limited, so call the Crosby Arboretum to sign up. The annual Vegetable Field Day at the Beaumont unit of the Mississippi Agriculture and Forestry Experiment Station takes place on Thursday, June 13th. It's located on Highway 15 north of Beaumont, Mississippi. Registration starts at 8 a.m. There's no registration fee and pre-registration is not required. Go to our Farm Week website at farmweek.msucares.com for information on these and other events. Now, let's check out this week's Farm Week Snapshot.
Soybeans were higher at midweek on commercial and technical selling. Brownfield says old crop supplies remain tight and China continues to be in the market for beans. Farmer selling has allowed an increase and has allowed the new crop to outgain old crop. Market analyst Sue Martin says she thinks that it could be June or July before old crop beans peak. She's not selling any new crop at this time.
Our sales are still percolating along, and when I look at beans, I think that I'm still on deck for looking at June, possibly early July. But we want to be watching real closely because they're already starting to roll from July into November. The November contract, I don't think I'd sell that with wooden nickels just yet.
All right.
I'm very friendly, the new crop contract.
Well, that's it for the market segment today. Time now for the trivia quiz for this week. It concerns what portion of the nation's sow herd is owned by Smithfield Foods, Triumph Foods, and Seaboard Foods. Well, the nation's top 3 pork producers, the answer is 48%, according to Successful Farming magazine. The nation's sow herd totaled just over 3 million head last year. The top 3 companies owned 1.46 million of those. Smithfield by itself owned 28% of the nation's sow herd.
In our feature story segment today, we air the second part of our 2-part video on Edam cheese production at Mississippi State University. This year, MSU is celebrating 75 years of Edam cheese production. These 3-pound balls of Edam cheese are made by the Mississippi Agricultural and Forestry Experiment Station at MSU. There was a time when demand far outstripped supply, and that still happens around Christmas when it's a prized gift. This was produced by Brian Utley of the Office of Agricultural Communications at MSU. We'll tell you how you can get your Edam cheese after the story.
We're very proud of what we're doing and the quality of the product and the huge popularity. We sell our cheese products to all 50 states. And so many people come from all over this state just to get a ball of cheese or one of the many cheese items that we have here.
People that like Mississippi State like products that come from Mississippi State. It's made from the milk that we produce on our own dairy farm, and we think we have expertise in production of this product.
If it were not for the fact that the Edam was the round ball with the red wax and MSU seal on it. It has a visual impact as well as a culinary impact, and it's just become part of the university.
That's known the world over. We mailed it out. We mailed some to England, to Canada, Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico, and people, they loved it. I don't care where they were, and you could call it would, even if it had been $100 a ball, people would still come in wanting it, you know.
The Edam cheese stands for and above any other cheese made anywhere because of the quality of the products that go into the cheese and the love and care that the students have had in learning to make the Edam cheese and to do everything that they need to do to make it a super quality.
We didn't advertise in the papers or, you know, any kind of brochures or anything like that. So it was just word of mouth, really. And people sending people cheese, and then they would turn around and place orders. So that's how it really got spread throughout, you know, the United States.
There's not many places you can't go and ask if they know what an Edam cheese is, and that they will tell you yes they do, and they want it. And I used to tell the people as they said, well, I get those for gifts, and I said, well, the only problem with that is once you give it, they want it, you've got to start giving it to them on a regular basis.
It's a symbol of Mississippi State, and it's not, you know, it's way up there. It gets a lot of publicity for them, and people are aware of it all over the country, and students, they're exposed to this stuff while they're in school, and it's a pride thing that, you know, it makes you proud of what you're representing and the university that you're representing, and the product that you have pleases, you know, that many people.
Our children have seldom ever called this just the Edam cheese. They always would say this is Daddy's cheese or this is Granddaddy's cheese. And as our grandchildren have grown up, and they've always been taken over to the cheese shop, and they know to look up, and that's Granddaddy's name up there. And also there are other things in there relevant to Joe and his teaching here for such a long time.
I love this thing. I could, my family and everything that I've got and everything I've had is caused from that ball right there.
It's who we are at Mississippi State University. And 75 years of production of Edam cheese is an event that is an opportunity for us to celebrate this production, and it's an opportunity for us to say thank you to a lot of people in the past that have made this possible.
Happy 75th anniversary for Edam cheese.
I'd like to wish the Mississippi State Edam cheese operation a very, very happy 75-year anniversary.
Happy 75th anniversary, Edam cheese. I'm so proud to be a part of it.
I want to wish you a happy 75th, and I hope you have another 75 after this, and I'm sure you will. It's been part of my life, and always will be.
I'm Leota Cardwell, and I wish MSU Edam Cheese a happy 75th birthday.
Go to our Farm Week website, Facebook page, or YouTube if you'd like to see this story again on Mississippi State University's Edam Cheese. We'll also have the telephone number where you can order or send Edam Cheese or any other product offered by the Memphis Sales Store. You can order online at MSU-cheese.com. Because of summer heat, they usually ship during the cool months from November to April. The public is welcome to shop at the Memphis Sales Store on campus in Starkville from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. It's located a short walk from the south end of the football stadium. It's also open on Saturdays and Sunday mornings on home football game weekends.
And Amy, this is, we showed it last week, but for those who weren't with us last week, this is one of the original teak wood molds that came from Holland originally, where that's Edam cheese production originated. They came over here in 1938, just before World War II started, and they closed up the ports of Holland. So there's a bit of history there, World War II.
Right.
But you can also get all kinds of cheese at the MSU sales store. You can get vinaigrette, you can get, they have a couple cheddars, they have some other things. They have a lot of products there, so more than just available. But,
absolutely.
Mr. Fulgham, you saw in the story, he was the cheese maker for many years. He knew all the subtleties, and if anybody is probably, you know, responsible for helping make it what it is today, he's probably one of the people that we can point to, which is why he was in the video. But once
Great
again,
man.
Congratulations to all those who have made Edam Cheese what it is at Mississippi State today. Well, we are at the end of Farm Week for this week. On our next show, Dr. Temple Grandin.
This Colorado State University animal scientist and author is well known and respected by both those in and out of the livestock industry. She's designed livestock handling facilities around the world. Grandin says her autism helps her see what animals see.
In Southern Gardening, see how one man turned an eyesore into eye candy. Well, for the rest of the Farm Week crew, I'm Artis Ford.
And I'm Amy Taylor. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again next week.